The FBI issued the FBI obtained a court warrant and proceeded to raid and search the home of Democratic Representative Henry Cuellar. Not only his home, but his office as well. And this news was first reported by reporter Valerie Gonzalez with The Monitor. She put out a series of tweets letting the public know that agents are still in and around the home. Some showed up a few moments ago. Can't see what's happening inside, but some agents came outside with a clipboard and camera to snap pictures of the two trucks out front. In a later tweet, she writes that by around 7:30 p.m., a group of agents loaded large bags, plastic bins, and a computer into a federal vehicle. Others appeared to be logging the items. So as it stands today, we don't have full details on what this investigation is about. There are a few clues, so I want to give you the information we do know. FBI spokesperson Roseanne Hughes confirmed law enforcement's presence in the area, but did not clarify what authorities were investigating. Hughes said in a statement that the FBI was present on 2 streets around Cuellar's house in Laredo, conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity. And the office of Cuellar issued a statement indicating that Congressman Cuellar will fully cooperate in any investigation. He is committed to ensuring that justice and the law are upheld. Now, what that justice is in relation to, we don't know yet, but here are some clues on what we do know. First off, it is important to note which portion of the Department of Justice is conducting this investigation. Agents were seen taking cases and other items from the congressman's home. FBI officials were also present at a downtown building owned by Cuellar that reportedly houses his campaign office, as well as other private businesses. He also has, of course, a campaign manager. He's running for re-election. Colin Strother is the name of the campaign manager, and his Twitter account was deactivated. We're uncertain as to whether or not that has any connection to this, but it was a little strange and the timing was a little interesting. Also, the Department of Justice's Public Integrity Unit is involved in the investigation. A source familiar with the matter told CNN. The Public Integrity section handles cases involving elected officials, including, this is the important part, campaign finance and other investigations. So that's all we know as of now. Of course, this story is developing and we'll give you more details as we learn them. But here to help us talk about this story and also talk about her, attempts to primary Cuellar in the upcoming midterm elections is Jessica Cisneros. She is running to primary Cuellar in Texas's 28th congressional district. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be back.
Happy to have you. I'll start off with the first question. Obviously at this point, all you can really do is speculate about what's going on. But one thing that we do know about Henry Cuellar is how often he votes along with Republicans. He was notorious for voting along with Donald Trump during the Trump administration. And a lot of that seemed to be influenced by money in politics. So can you talk a little bit about that and how it kind of encouraged you to run against him?
Absolutely. I mean, it was a major reason why I decided to run and throw my hat into the ring last cycle. I announced back in the summer of 2019, I was actually with you all on that first day. And a lot of it was motivated by the fact that we knew that Cuellar was not representing and fighting on behalf of South Texans. We knew that he was out there doing the bidding of his Republican corporate interest donors, whether it be big oil, the NRA, the Koch brothers, the private prison industry. I mean, so many bad guys that are behind him. So although it's still shocking, right? Because I don't think many of us have their members of Congress get raided by the FBI. It's not surprising, right? Because a lot of people know that Cuellar has been in Congress for too long and that there's been a history of corruption during his time in Congress due to his special interests.
So Jessica, the FBI raiding a United States congressperson's house is no small thing. They're not gonna do that unless they've got a lot of evidence already. Because look, keeping it real, prosecutors and FBI agents are very concerned about their careers and their track record and whether they could win a case, right? So they're not coming unless they think they're winning and that they have overwhelming evidence. this is all in prelude to. So given that they've got giant amount of evidence, does anyone know publicly why this is happening?
No, I mean, we're as clueless as everybody else. We're just waiting, monitoring the situation because it's already been around 24 hours since the investigation started, since the raid started happening, and we still don't have any details. I mean, I think that we as residents of Texas 28th Congressional District need to know what is happening, what our Congress members being accused of. And we hope that the investigation is very transparent. Like we think that that's what Cuellar owes his constituents, and we hope that he's going to tell us like what this investigation is about. But in the meantime, we are absolutely focused on making sure that this is our opportunity to make sure that Cuellar isn't in office and that we come out on top on March 1st.
You know,
so in fact, let me just follow up on that real quick, Anna. Sorry. Look, it's not just the FBI we're waiting on. Jessica, couldn't Cuellar himself say what this is about? Because he doesn't have any duty to hold it secret. In fact, he has a duty to share with his constituents why he's being raided. I mean, in fact, it might even help him because right now we have no idea. We don't know if it's murder or robbery or just simple corruption. Now, I don't think it's the first two, but I don't know. Why doesn't he answer it? And he could say, hey, look, it's corruption, and people have been accusing me of being corrupt for a long time. It goes back a decade, and I'm not. Okay, fine, make the statement. So has he not said anything? Does it look like, since you're opposing him in the primary here, I figure you would know best. Are they just running for the hills? Has there been any response, or they're going to try to keep it secret for the whole campaign?
Not sure. I mean, I know that various news outlets have reported on just the facts, the ones that were mentioned earlier during the segment, and that's all that we know. Cuellar hasn't made any, response other than the statement that he put out yesterday. So I guess it's just a waiting game. But again, in the meantime, we are trying to make sure that we're focusing on winning, right, and letting voters know, right? Like this is, he's getting investigated for a reason. We don't know what that reason is right now, but let me tell you about these other instances where Cuellar has been doing shady deals, has been taking money from, all these groups that don't have the best interests of our working class South Texans in mind. And we're already hearing it from so many voters, right? Like, yes, Cuellar has been in office for too long. This isn't, again, it's not surprising, but it's still shocking, I guess, to see an FBI raid happen to your member of Congress. But we're hearing that a lot of folks are like, this is it. Like Jessica Cisneros, needs to be given a chance, and we're going to do everything we can to elect her on March 1st.
It's interesting because back in 2012, there was a piece written over at My San Antonio in regard to some pretty shady, American residents, but they're Mexican citizens who apparently were laundering money for the Zetas drug cartel, and some campaign contribution was made to Cuellar and also to his brother, which they both had to return as a result of the negative press surrounding that big scandal or that big story. Now, it was a small campaign donation compared to some of the figures that we've seen with legalized bribery in this country. But my point in bringing that up is, with this system of legalized bribery, you're gonna have all sorts of shady, moneyed interests pouring money into campaigns. And one of the best ways to keep yourself and your campaign clean is to reject that kind of money, whether it be through corporate PACs or through big donors. And you've really made a name for yourself for rejecting the system of legalized bribery. Can you talk a little bit about how, your campaign is going now versus the first time you attempted to primary Henry Cuellar?
Absolutely. I mean, last time around, even though we did come up a bit short, we were able to earn 48.2% of the vote. I was a first-time 26-year-old candidate, never done this before, had virtually zero name ID, compared especially to someone like Cuellar, who has been representing my hometown of Laredo in various capacities since before I was born. At one point, he was Texas Secretary of State for Rick Perry, and then he ran for Congress. So he was very much entrenched. But the good thing is that this time around, we know we're not starting from scratch. We know exactly what we're doing. We know exactly what the issues are that are affecting everyday people. And we know that because we are out there knocking on doors. We're calling voters, asking them directly, like what are the issues that are affecting you in your day-to-day lives? And it's no surprise to anyone, especially now after this terrible pandemic that we're still in the middle of. Healthcare and jobs and increasing the minimum wage are the top issues that we're hearing on behalf of voters. So for us, it's about drawing a strong contrast between ourselves and Cuellar. And one of the first things that is out of our mouths as soon as we talk to voters is like, we are not taking a single dime of corporate PAC money because we want to be accountable to you and to you only. And we've seen what happens when our elected official, in this case Cuellar, is taking corporate PAC money and the corrupting influence that it's having on his votes in Washington.
And for anyone who's interested in supporting Jessica, you can go to jessicacisneros.com. That's jessicacisneros.com because her campaign, of course, is funded with small dollar donations. And final question for me, has more to do with what we've been experiencing in Congress during the Biden administration, particularly in regard to the social spending bill. It's easy to criticize corporate Democrats. We do it all the time. If you were elected into Congress, how would you, as a progressive, rally progressive lawmakers to handle the situation differently?
I mean, I think it also comes down to the fundamental issue that Cuellar, was one of the handful of people, right, who were clearly obstructing this bill from getting passed and was doing the bidding of, No Labels and the US Chamber of Commerce, who bought his vote last time around during our primary, since they were the ones who endorsed him, or one of the groups that endorsed him during our race last cycle. So it wasn't surprising to see Cuellar, try to obstruct the promises that so many Democrats, including President Biden, ran on. And if it was up to me, obviously, if I was there, then Democrats would have had that vote and done everything that we could to stay and hold the line and make sure that this compromise that was already agreed upon by both chambers, that both the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the spending budget were going to get passed at the same time. So this is why the stakes are so high in this election, because we know that we have to win here, because even if Cuellar, who still has $2 million in the bank, he still has that money, he can still use it. And I think it's a do or die situation now. So he knows that he's backed into a corner. If he's able to squeak by a win, there's a possibility that we lose the opportunity to have not just progressive representation in Congress, but Democratic representation in Congress. So we need to make sure that we are doing what we can and not take this opportunity for granted. And we need all hands on deck. We need people helping us, volunteering, sending what they can to our campaign, because it's imperative that we win and we have progressive representation in Texas 28.
All right, Jessica, one last question for me. Does it really matter too much if he's taking bribes from drug cartels or drug companies? Because I would say, look, Oxy has killed more Americans than the Zetas have. So it would be awful if he was taking money from drug cartels, but he takes money from drug companies, and it's not like the drug companies are giving him money for any motive other than what the drug cartels are giving him money for. Do as we tell you. We give you money, you do as you're told. So when he does it on behalf of giant American corporations who also get Americans killed, is it any better?
I mean, I'd rather a congressperson that's not going to be bribed in general. I think we should probably be fighting for that and make sure that, again, that we come out on top on March 1st, because yes, I mean, we have not been receiving the representation that we deserve down here. And we came so close last time. 2,700 votes made the difference. And we don't want to wake up on March 2nd and think, man, it was our race to win and we weren't able to deliver. But I'm confident that we can do it if everybody comes together, and especially because this is one of the first races that is coming up in the midterms, we're going to be able to set the tone that this is our year as progressives to make sure that we're electing representation that is going to be having the best interests of our constituents in mind in Congress.
All right, just want to let the audience know about the website one more time, jessicacisneros.com. And Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Good luck to you.
Thank y'all so much. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.